Hello, hello. Good afternoon, Mr. Pinnock and Miss Taylor. How are y'all today?
We're
Doing
doing
good,
good.
thank you.
Yeah, y'all twinning. Y'all twinning. I like the
Yeah,
hairdo.
got to. We got to.
Thank you.
It looks really nice. Y'all looking forward to y'all upcoming arrival of the little one.
Yes,
Yes.
we are.
How
Yes.
many more weeks? We got a couple more weeks, right?
Yeah, a couple of more weeks. It might be sooner, but yeah.
Okay. How you feeling, Dad?
I'm ready. Feeling ready. No, it's
That's
been a long little journey. I'm
Right,
ready for. Yeah.
right. And Mom, you ready? You got your overnight bag and everything?
oh yes, I sure enough do. Got the baby
Okay.
bag, got my bag. I got two bags.
Right. And what about Dad? You got his bag too. You know he gonna be in a cot next to the bed. So, we got to be prepared because it just comes so quick. So, but I just want to thank y'all for again entrusting me to meet with to go over kind of your concerns that you were having during this time in your relationship. I know last when we met, we talked a little bit about this last session and what it would look like, and basically we coin it as a Joshua memorial slash a graduation, session. And essentially that just means that you're at the end of your session. We're going to talk a little bit about what you learned over these past few weeks, and then also talk about what you guys chose as your item to memorialize this counseling session that we had. So talk to me a little bit about, from your first session, when you had the concern about what you were going to do in terms of staying with a job, or if you were going to take on a new job. Dad, if you want to talk a little bit about that. And then, Mom, if you want to talk a little bit about how that either strengthened you guys, or, if you ran into some roadblocks. But tell me a little bit about that first session, and then we'll talk a little about the second session.
I would say it was concerning just due to the fact of I've had my past experiences of, my first child where I kind of just went through that alone. So I was pretty much in a situation now where I'm like, we plant this pregnancy and, we kind of put certain things into place where we was just like, okay, this is how things are gonna be. I'm gonna be there, this and this and that. So my concern when picking up the new job was just more so where it's like, okay, we spoke about you being able to be there, and now it seems like that might not even happen. So it was a concern for me at that point, just because you want your partner to be by your side in a situation like that through it. So it was just a conversation that was had. And during that conversation, pretty much, of course, was very open and communicated my feelings and how I felt. And, I could say that he definitely gravitated towards it and pretty much was just more so very understanding. And, he was definitely listening to me and hearing me out when having the conversation with him, where he kind of like put some things into play. So that way, he was able to be, he's able to be there. So I'll say that.
Okay, that's good. And Pinnock, your feedback on that first session?
I would mirror some of that. Little bit of missed parts that I would probably bring back to it as it made it a little bit more difficult in a sense, because I had already put in my 2 weeks at my job and everything. And when when we first spoke about everything that was going to be going on at the new job and how the training was going to go, I had explained to her that I told them, I told the job that I have to figure out what's going on at first. And there wasn't going to be much space for me to take time off, because when I originally spoke to them, they said, I have to do the program and you could probably get 1 or 2 days off, but taking that much time off, you're gonna lose a lot of miss a lot of information. So I was like, okay. So I shared that information with her. Um, I'm not sure if it was a little bit of reserve feelings at the moment, but she didn't completely tell me um don't go back to it and tell them I can do it, because basically we ended up having the conversation of me saying, all right, I'm just going to call the job back and let them know that I can do it, because the timing, I was trying to see if I could make it work by starting the new job at the moment in time, and just immediately coming home after, because it was supposed to be an early shift, a very early shift. I'm like, maybe you'll be sleeping at the time most of the morning and whatnot. So hopefully I can still get back and, everything will be fine. But I told her, because we spoke about it like right on the phone and everything, I'll try to clear it up, call the job back and let them know that, okay, I won't need to take the time off. Shortly after that, it turned, actually later that evening, she shared more on how she really felt about the situation. Um, so then I was just like, okay. So I went to work and I sat there, I thought about it. Um, and I was just like, you know what, let me just talk to my manager in the morning, because I also wanted to make sure my position wasn't gone at my current job first too, because I already put in my 2 weeks. So spoke to my manager at work in the morning. I let her know. I was like, all right, I'm gonna talk to them and see what's going on and everything. And they accepted me to withdraw my 2 week notice. And then after that, I contacted back the new job and told them, unfortunately, I know I told you that I will be able to come, but we spoke it over, and it'll just be best for me to just start in the next session when you guys have the next one in a couple months. So it it all pretty much worked out from there. Both jobs were understanding, and we were able to grow from that situation.
That's good. And how do you think you guys grew from the situation? So you talked a little bit about the process that was happening as you guys were coming to a decision, but how do you think you two grew in that decision making?
I would say the way I believe we grew from that situation was more so much of like, it's not, I feel like it's one thing when you're in a relationship and it's not just you that you're dealing with something, but it's another thing now where there is another person involved. So it's like it's not just a decision of, if you and I don't agree, it's okay to disagree. Like it's okay to disagree either way on something, but it's more, there has to be more of an effort to put out there to say, okay, how can we come to a mutual understanding at some level ground of where everybody might not get everything they want, but we all can deal with something. And I don't want to call it a compromise, but just more of like, we can all agree to something where it's beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, that's good. Do you agree, Ms.
Yeah,
Taylor?
yeah, I agree. Hmm.
Okay. Um, that's good. And I think that you guys are, again, I mentioned it the last session, you guys are on a good track as far as how you are like compartmentalizing how to go about making decisions, how to go about resolving conflict. Like a lot of people struggle with that. So the fact that you're already at a place where you're trying to, as you said, maybe not compromise, but consider the other person's feelings in your decision making is really good. And so it sounds like there might be some wedding bells in the near future, the way y'all are communicating. No, but seriously, keep up the good work because the way y'all are communicating, a lot of people struggle with. And so I just want to give y'all kudos for that. Now with the second session, how do you think you guys grew from that? That intervention was more or less like one was a speaker, one was a listener, and in any conflict, right? You would also have similar situation where there's something that you want to discuss, and everybody needs to take the time to have one person speak and then listen. So how do you think that was able to help y'all with future, conflicts that might arise or future concerns that might arise, and being able to hear each other out? How do you think that helped make your relationship stronger, or did it make your relationship stronger?
I would say, I mean, in situations like that, I feel like it makes our relationship stronger. Because one thing that I always say is that, neither one of us is perfect. And so when it comes to, um, the fact that, before we even think about exploding, where we just it gets silent first and then it comes to a conversation. Um, I feel like that's something big, just due to the fact of, I know when it comes to arguments or just latching out based off of, for one, is tension and you're in your feelings. So, I feel like we take that time to actually just be in our own thoughts and kind of just sit back and, you know, just self check on ourselves and just be like, okay, like, let me put all this together. Is it really worth this, or, can it get this far? And I feel like with us taking that time and we do that, you know, it's a real sit down type of conversation for us, where we find ourselves to just hear each other out. We don't over talk each other. It's kind of like, let me hear what all you got to say, and then, then listen to what you got to say, and then go from there. And we just kind of resolve what the issue might have been. But I can honestly say, um, we don't come across it too much for the most part. You know, we don't really come across too much tension, and going back and forth. It's just more so just communicating with each other, which I think we're pretty good with communicating with each other. I could say, of course, in the beginning, it wasn't all that well because we're still two people trying to get to know each other. And that comfortability of just being able to express ourselves. But as time went by, we've been in a situation where we've had to express ourselves. And I mean, because if we don't, then how are we going to know what's wrong or whatever the case may be? So we take that time now where it's just like we could either see it or we just speak on it, where it's just like, you good? You okay? Like, oh, something's off. And sometimes it could just be nothing. It's just them just being quiet that day and it has nothing to do with you. But I mean, we definitely grew through that, I should say. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And Mr. Pinnock, your thoughts on that? Did you think you guys grew from that intervention session?
I I think we did to a level. But I'd agree to what she's saying. Communication between us has pretty much always been pretty good for the most part. So for me, like I shared in the last session, this is something where I feel like we both kind of understood ourselves individually to know a bit about what we want. And one thing I've known that I didn't want from past relationships and things that I've personally experienced, and I'm sure she's probably personally experienced, is just the back and forth arguing and the loudness is like it doesn't really get you anywhere. It doesn't help the situation any better. So it's just like I was always a person like from I was younger, when my mother used to discipline us. Like I used to be like, once I reached a certain age, I was just like, I'm old enough now where we can talk things out. And like I had to have that conversation where I'm like, we don't got to do all the extra stuff. Like I've reached an age where we all understand and we can talk. We can talk. So I think it's something where we're both pretty similar on that aspect of where if something really needs to be said, we can have a conversation. So I feel like communication between us is pretty much always been pretty good, to the point where I would say probably for almost the first year of us dating, like we didn't really have any issues, to the point where it actually almost makes you wonder, like, if this person gets really upset, what is really upset gonna be like? Because it's been this is different. So it was definitely it's not brand new to us, but it's definitely something where, of course, like she said, we had to still grow to learn each other and understand how we react to certain things. But it definitely is better than a lot of previous situations where I see that we understand that we don't need to do all the yelling and arguing in order to get our points across.
That's good. And you're so right. Like I was mentioning before, you guys are like no couple I've ever had a session with before. So honestly, kudos goes off to you because so many people are speaking and nobody's listening. And that's the problem where there's the communication breakdown. You know, the Bible says, be slow to speak and quick to listen. And then communication, regardless of if you agree with the person or not, you have to be able to say, you know what, let me let you speak. And then you can listen, hear the other person. And like you were saying earlier, not necessarily a compromise, maybe agree to disagree at some times. But, you know, when you care for someone and you're in a loving relationship, sometimes there is a compromise. Sometimes you might just say, you know what, this is not really worth all, you know, the discord and you know, discomfort this might bring in a relationship. So let me go ahead and, you know, do what makes sense for both parties. So I
Right.
just again love the way y'all communicate. And I also like the fact that you said when you guys first started dating, it was kind of like, okay, we're good. We're just kind of, you know, cruising, nothing's happening. What's going to be like, you know, when we finally
Yeah.
do get into a conflict. But that also is something to be, I guess, grateful for because it shows y'all both talked about you didn't want to go into this new relationship, you know, experiencing some of the things of your past relationships. So it sounds like you both also learned. You took some of the good, you took some of the bad, and you say, I don't want to go down this road again in terms of conflict. So that's also good. And that's a great thing that you guys learned to do in your relationship. And again, it's going to speak volumes when something really, really big arises. You know, you already know off the top, you know, screaming and yelling is not going to help anything. Maybe we need a moment, figure out how to go about this, and then just figure out a resolution. You know, there's a therapy called solution-based therapy that we use. And the premise of it basically is not to focus on the problem, focus on how to solve the problem at hand. And a lot of times it deals with a lot of the interventions that we use here. So listening, speaking, you know, and allowing both parties to hear each other out and then finding a resolve within ourselves. Even like you were mentioning, Mr. Pinnock, with the job, you know, that might have been a concern, but then you had to go back and say, what's overall going to be the best thing for the whole family? And it's not that I can't have this opportunity. It's just I have to delay it, you know, for a little bit. So, but again, I thank y'all for sharing feedback from both sessions. So now with this session, again, the Joshua Memorial / graduation session, we want to talk a little bit about what you guys chose to memorialize all of your sessions. And if you can tell me what that means to you from a symbolic meaning, from a perspective of y'all as a couple. So show me what that is, what you guys created together, and just tell me a little bit about what it means to y'all.
Okay. So we're going with this photo.
Oh, that is too cute. How many months were you there?
I was
It was like December.
7 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And tell me what was your thoughts behind wanting to do that as a representation of a symbolic meaning for this to memorialize like these sessions? What was the meaning behind that photo?
I would say behind this photo, it was just I mean, I'd say for one, love. just
Yeah.
in general. Definitely love. It was just, the compassion, everything that I could say that came with this photo. Also we're showing that we're bringing life into this world. Um, I mean, for me, it shines light on the both of us. Where you know I don't feel like you don't come across too many people who find themselves to put themselves in a position and kind of know what they want. And I feel as though with me and him coming together, we both knew what we wanted. So looking at that photo, it's just like what we wanted is also we're in a position of creating. So you know, that's pretty much how I look at the photo and how I pretty much view it. And I'm a person that loves to take photos. It's something that's always an idea where I like to capture memories for one. Especially when it comes to loved ones and the people you care about or you want to keep close. You could always have, you lose them, and pictures is what really holds that passion and how you feel about that person when they're no longer here. So it's just like for me, I like to just build on having those memories, um, just to have them as well. And then also, bringing a child into the world for them to actually see that this was love. Like you grew up in a family that is all about love. So, you know, making that go down towards them and their generation as well, so they could also want the same for themselves when they get older. So that's how I pretty much view that.
Okay. Good. Thanks for sharing. And Mr. Pinnock, your feelings or views on why y'all chose that photo and what does it mean to you?
For me, that photo represent many things, and I can say even to even start with just these sessions as well. It was pretty much the topic of the sessions, about trying to make sure we can move forward um together on the same page. And that photo, when I go back to that photo, which also when the decisions had to be made, it's things like that that made us get into this in the first place, is because we were on the same page. So to see that we're both focused, like in the photo, we're both focused on the baby and the fact of how this is what we're doing this for. It's not about me, it's not about you. We're doing this for him, together, as one. And the fact of how the photos is, it's like, as she said, she likes to take photos. Um I enjoy photos as well, but in a odd sense, I want to say a way I kind of describe myself is like a introvert extrovert, and I feel that way when it comes to photos as well. I love them. It's just you have to get me to the point to want to take them. I love photos. I love the memories. I love to look back at them as well, but you got to get me there.
Hmm. Hmm.
And she's good at that. She's good at making sure I'm there for that. So, one thing I won't be short of is the memories of the photos and all that stuff. Because she's not going without a photo.
Right.
um, so I can definitely say, like, for me, that photo embodies a lot of things for us, and where it's where we're at the moment, and what we have ahead of us. And just to look back on the fact of how she said that she was just talking about knowing what we wanted at the beginning of this, and how we planned for this and everything. So like like how we started out as friends and everything, we were pretty much um we pretty much understood each other's future plans and this is, I would say, before we knew we were gonna start dating and everything. Like we had an understanding of each other already. I knew she wanted a child soon. She had mentioned like within the next couple of years she wanted to have a child. I know within myself I wanted to have a child soon because I was like, I don't want to be 35 having my first child. Like I don't want to be an old man having my first child. Like I just feel like it's better to do it when you're younger. Had the early 20s to myself, and now a little bit older, and it's like it's just the right timing. So for me, just understanding that when we were friends is just like, okay, we were pretty much on the same, heading down the same path mentally in a sense. So um a lot of it sometimes too, I have friends that'll ask me, how do you guys get along so well and this and that. I'm like, one of the greatest things is that it was a genuine friendship. Um like we met at the gym. We we worked out together. Like, you're at the gym. It's in a sense where you like let your guard down. I'm here to have, it's like a stress-free zone. You're here to relax yourself, and other people are there doing the same thing. So, you get to communicate with other people, you talk about your life, you talk about certain things that's going on. And it wasn't a situation where you're lying about anything. I'm like, sometimes I feel like a lot of times when people meet someone that they're trying to build with, they put on a front about things they're doing, but they're not really doing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like it wasn't any of that. It was just, this is who I am, this is
Mm-hmm.
who you are. It's not okay, now we're talking, and it's just like, well, you told me you did this, this, and that, and I don't see any of that. Or you're acting this way, and it's like, no, we understood who each other were genuinely from the beginning. So I feel like that helped go a long way. That just being yourself went a long way. So
That's good. That's good. And so a couple of things I heard from that was um, this image you guys chose, or the reason you chose a professional photo, is because to both of y'all, it means pretty much similar things. You just worded it differently. Like Miss Taylor, you said love, compassion, shines a light on the situation, creation, it builds memories. You, Mr. Pinnock, also said memories. It helps show that y'all were on the same page. Y'all had similar goals in mind when y'all got together. And then I love the fact that you kind of ended everything with like having a genuine friendship, kind of brought y'all to where y'all all today. And then you also just kind of wrapped it up and brought it home with saying these sessions all embodied that photo, right? Because we talked about your first session was trying to figure out how can we best plan for this creation that is going to be coming into the world soon, right? And so you talked about that, and I love how you kind of connected the two. Um, but yeah, I think you guys are really on a good path to a successful, continuous relationship. I love that you guys did start off as friends. That's always good because you get to know a person on a different level before you decide to get into an intimate relationship. And, you talked about how you genuinely met in a place, in a space that y'all both were comfortable in. So you didn't have to kind of mask who you were. Like that's super important today because a lot of times we don't really know who people are
yeah.
when we start dating them, until maybe 6 months, even a year in, and then it's like this trend. I don't know if you heard on TikTok. This girl was talking about how she married, uh, I don't know, a psychopath or something, and yeah, but you just never know who you're gonna be partner up with until probably sometimes later on. So it's a great thing that y'all discovered early on who each other was because you was seeing each other in a familiar, safe space at the gym, and then eventually y'all got connected and you know grew into an intimate relationship. So but with all that being said, I just want to thank y'all for sharing. I thank y'all for choosing me for your couples intervention. And like I said, you guys are on such a great track to just be able to resolve whatever issue or concerns that come up if you continue on this same path. Um, I don't really have much else to say, but congratulations for resolving your
Thank you.
concerns.
Yeah.
Congratulations for figuring out your own resolve, because truly that's what, counseling is about. When anyone comes to a therapist, sometimes they think, oh, we're supposed to resolve it for them. And I truly believe that everything a person needs is in them. The Bible says, greater is he that's in me. That is, greater is he that is in me than he that is in himself. So basically meaning everything you need is already in you, but you just need to take that time out to listen and hear one another and then figure out whatever your resolve is. So I just want to thank y'all again for choosing me. Continue to stay on a positive path as it pertains to your relationship. I wish y'all all the best and a healthy delivery and just a continuous, joyous relationship. And if you need me, I'm here for y'all. Y'all know how to reach me, but I don't have any doubts that y'all will be reaching back out. So
Thank you.
I just want to thank y'all again. You're very welcome. And definitely send me some photos of the little one when they come about. So what's the name? You guys picked out a name already?
Javada.
Okay. All right. Javato. So that's cute. And again, just I wish you guys all the best. And hopefully I won't talk to you again soon.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks again. Y'all have a good day. Okay.
You as well. Thank you.
All right.